Welcome to the YouTube channel, Contact Center Knowledge Hub, your one-stop solution for expert guidance, best practices, and actionable knowledge in the world of contact centers. Explore, learn, and enhance contact center skills. Let's see about conceptual most important questions of forecasting method, expert judgment. Let's see first analytical question. What is expert judgment forecasting in a call center? Think for a moment. And the answer is here. Alright team, let's understand expert judgment forecasting in a call center. Expert judgment forecasting is a qualitative forecasting method. That means, instead of relying only on formulas or statistical models, we make predictions using human experience and business understanding. In simple words, we forecast future call volumes, workload, staffing needs, or performance trends based on what experienced people know from the ground, like WFM managers, operations leaders, supervisors, and subject matter experts. Now, why do we use this method? We use expert judgment when data is missing, data is unreliable, or when we are facing a new situation where historical patterns won't fully help. For example, a new campaign is launching and there is no past data. A sudden policy change impacts customer behavior. A system issue causes recent data gaps. Or when leaders say, this week will behave differently because of a market event. So here's the key takeaway. Expert judgment forecasting is most powerful when we need context, because raw numbers don't always explain the full story. It helps us add real-world interpretation on top of the available data, so our staffing decisions stay practical and accurate. And remember, this method works best when it is used with structure. Document the assumptions, align with stakeholders, and validate the forecast once actuals come in. That's expert judgment forecasting, human intelligence applied to forecasting, especially when the situation needs business sense beyond the spreadsheet. Next question is, why is expert judgment essential in contact center forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's answer a very practical question. Why is expert judgment essential in contact center forecasting? Because in real contact center life, data alone is not enough. Yes, historical data is important. But contact centers regularly face situations where the past does not perfectly predict the future. For example, a policy change suddenly shifts customer call drivers. A product launch creates new types of queries. A system outage creates backlog and repeat calls. A seasonal shock like unexpected holidays or weather events changes demand. Or customer behavior becomes unpredictable and the pattern breaks. In these cases, the numbers may look normal, but the reality is changing underneath. That's exactly where expert judgment becomes critical. Expert insight bridges the gap by adding 5 powerful inputs. First, contextual knowledge, what's happening operationally right now. Second, environmental awareness, market shifts, news, competitors, or external events. Third, client-specific understanding, how your particular customer base reacts. Fourth, business intelligence, campaigns, billing cycles, promotions, and product plans. And fifth, experience-based reasoning, lessons learned from similar situations in the past. So the bottom line is this. Expert judgment keeps forecasting practical, realistic, and timely, especially when the environment is changing faster than your data can reflect. That's why, in forecasting governance, expert judgment is not a backup, it's a vital layer of intelligence that protects service levels and staffing decisions. Next question is, When should expert judgment be preferred over quantitative models? Think for a moment. And here's the rule. Use expert judgment when the situation is changing faster than your data can explain. Let's walk through the most common scenarios. Number 1. Use it when historical data is missing or incomplete. For example, a new line of business, a new campaign, or a new channel. If there's no history, even the best model has nothing reliable to learn from. Number 2. Prefer it when demand patterns are unstable. This happens during mergers, pricing changes, major process changes, or system outages. When the pattern breaks, the model will either overreact or underreact. Number 3. Use expert judgment when unusual events occur. Think whether disruptions, legal or regulatory changes, or major billing cycle shifts. These events create spikes or drops that models won't predict unless they've seen them before. Number 4. Choose expert judgment when quantitative models cannot capture context. For instance, a sudden sentiment shift, a strong marketing push, or social media-driven demand. The model may show normal, but the ground reality says something is coming. And number 5. Use it when short-term decision-making is needed quickly, especially for intraday. For example, same-day recovery planning, sudden backlog management, or immediate staffing moves. In these moments, speed and context matter more than perfect statistical precision. So the takeaway is simple. Quantitative models are great when the environment is stable and data is strong. But when reality changes, expert judgment becomes the most reliable forecasting tool because it adds human intelligence and business context. Next question is, what are the risks or limitations of expert judgment forecasting? Think for a moment. And answer is here. Now let's cover an important topic. What are the risks or limitations of expert judgment forecasting? Expert judgment is powerful because it adds real-world context. But if we don't control it properly, it can also introduce errors. Let's go through the key risks. First, bias. Experts can be influenced by optimism, overconfidence, or anchoring on a past week that felt similar. This can cause forecasts to be too high, too low, or too slow to adjust. Second, subjectivity. Two experts can look at the same situation and give completely different predictions. So the forecast can vary based on who is in the room. Third, inconsistency. If the approach isn't structured, decisions change week to week with no clear logic. And that makes forecasting governance weak. Fourth, limited scalability. Unlike automated models, expert judgment doesn't scale easily across multiple queues, sites, or channels. Especially when you need fast, frequent updates. Fifth, dependency on expert quality. If the expert lacks experience or misses key business signals, the forecast quality drops immediately. So how do we control these risks? We use structured methods like 1. The Delphi technique, collect inputs independently, compare, and converge in rounds. 2. Scenario discussions, best case, expected case, worst case, with clear assumptions. 3. Cross-functional review, WFM, OPS, marketing, product, and client stakeholders align on drivers. Final takeaway. Expert judgment should never be gut feel. It should be structured, documented, and validated so it stays accurate and trustworthy. Next question is, how does expert judgment complement quantitative forecasting? Think for a moment. Think of it this way. Quantitative forecasting gives you the mathematical prediction. An expert judgment acts like a corrective lens that adjusts or validates that prediction using business reality. Here's a simple example. Let's say your time series model predicts a 5% drop in calls for next week. On paper, it looks logical. Maybe the last few weeks were trending down. But then your experts step in and say, hold on, there is a major billing cycle shift happening next week. Customers will call more, not less. So what happens? The statistical forecast is not thrown away. It's enhanced. Expert judgment helps in 4 key ways. First, real-world correction. It fixes forecasts when external events make the model's prediction unrealistic. Second, strategic interpretation. Experts explain the why behind the expected change, campaigns, policies, product events, customer behavior. Third, scenario adaptation. Instead of one single number, experts help build scenarios, best case, expected case, worst case, so planning is stronger. Fourth, confidence scoring. Experts can rate how confident they are in the adjustment and highlight risks, assumptions, and watch-outs. So the final message is this. Quantitative models are excellent at patterns in data. Expert judgment is excellent at understanding what's changing in the business. Together, they ensure forecasts reflect business reality, not just numbers in a spreadsheet. Now let's talk about a critical question. What skills should an expert have for reliable judgment forecasts? Think for a moment. Because here's the truth, expert judgment is only as good as the expert behind it. A strong forecasting expert needs several key skills. First, strong domain experience. They must understand how a contact center truly works, queues, routing, shrinkage, AHT drivers, service levels, and operational constraints. Second, a solid understanding of historical patterns. Not just reading a report, but recognizing trends, seasonality, recurring spikes, and what normal really looks like for that business. Third, the ability to interpret business and customer behavior. Experts should know why customers call, what triggers demand, and how behavior changes during campaigns, billing cycles, or service issues. Fourth, awareness of market, seasonal, and external factors. They should track things like holidays, weather disruptions, regulatory changes, competitor moves, and public events that can shift contact volume. Fifth, strong analytical and reasoning capability. Even though it's a qualitative method, the thinking must be structured, cause and effect, evidence-based logic, and realistic impact sizing. Sixth, clear communication and data storytelling. A forecasting expert must explain the forecast in a way that leaders can act on. What is changing, why it's changing, what to do, and what risks to watch. And seventh, bias awareness and neutrality. They must actively control for bias, like optimism, anchoring, and overconfidence, so the forecast stays fair, realistic, and defensible. So the takeaway is simple. Reliable judgment forecasting is not guesswork. It's a structured skill set, experience plus reasoning plus communication, backed by neutrality. When these skills are strong, expert judgment becomes one of the most valuable forecasting inputs in a contact center. Now let's cover a very important question. How do you validate an expert judgment forecast? Think for a moment. And the answer is here. Because expert judgment should never be treated as a guess. It must be measurable, reviewable, and improvable, just like any statistical model. So how do we validate it? We do it in 6 steps. Step 1. Compare predictions versus actuals. Once the week or day is complete, check. What did we forecast and what actually happened? Step 2. Conduct variance analysis. Don't stop at, we were off by 10%. Break it down and ask. Was the variance due to volume, AHT, shrinkage, arrival pattern, or an unexpected event? Step 3. Check the expert assumptions. Expert judgment is built on assumptions, campaign impact, billing behavior, outage recovery, policy change impact. Validation means asking, were those assumptions true? Were they sized correctly? Step 4. Cross-validate with other experts. Compare the forecast input from multiple stakeholders, WFM, operations, client, marketing, product. If one person's view is consistently far off, you'll catch it early. Step 5. Run scenario comparisons. If you created best case, expected case, and worst case scenarios, validate which scenario actually played out and whether your range was realistic. Step 6. Review the past accuracy of each expert. Track expert accuracy over time, just like we track model accuracy. This helps you weight inputs. More reliable experts get more influence, and weaker inputs get challenged earlier. So here's the key message. Validation makes expert judgment structured and reliable, not random. And when you validate consistently, expert judgment becomes stronger over time because it learns and improves, just like a forecasting model. Next question is, how does the Delphi technique improve expert judgment accuracy? Think for a moment. And the answer is here. The Delphi technique is a structured, multi-round expert consultation method. The goal is simple: take multiple expert opinions, reduce bias, and arrive at a forecast that is more reliable and more aligned. Here's how it works. In round 1, experts give their forecasts independently. No discussion, no influence, no pressure, just their best judgment based on facts and context. Then, those inputs are aggregated, usually into a summary like a range, an average, key assumptions, and major risks. In round 2, experts review the aggregated results. They see where their estimate sits compared to others, and they are asked to refine their assumptions, again, in a structured way. This process repeats for multiple rounds until the group converges toward a consensus, not forced agreement, but a well-reasoned alignment. Now, why does this improve accuracy? Because it delivers 5 major benefits. First, it removes hierarchy influence. No one is forecasting to please a senior leader because inputs are independent and often anonymous. Second, it reduces emotional bias. Instead of reacting emotionally to one loud opinion, experts adjust based on evidence and group patterns. Third, it improves consistency. Each round forces clarity: what changed, why it changed, and what assumption was updated. Fourth, it builds consensus-based accuracy. When multiple informed views converge, the final forecast is usually more stable and dependable than a single-person judgment. Fifth, it encourages anonymous, honest inputs. That means fewer politics, more truth, and better forecasting governance. So the key takeaway is this. The Delphi technique turns subjective expert opinions into a robust, structured, and aligned forecast, which is exactly what you want in a contact center environment where decisions impact staffing, service levels, cost, and customer experience. Next question is, what role does expert judgment play in intraday forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's understand the role of expert judgment in intraday forecasting, because intraday is where forecasting becomes truly real-time. Intraday conditions can change very rapidly. For example, a sudden system downtime, unexpected agent absenteeism, a sharp spike in customer intent because of an incident or campaign, or an unplanned backlog building up across queues. In these moments, even the best intraday forecasting model can struggle, because the model is mostly reacting to patterns and the situation may be new or evolving minute by minute. This is where expert judgment becomes the control tower. Experts help course-correct the quantitative intraday forecast by applying real-world logic and asking the right questions. For instance, what caused the spike? Is it a one-time issue, or is it something that will keep generating contacts? Will it continue? Is demand likely to normalize in the next hour, or stay elevated for the rest of the day? How many hours will it take to recover? Based on backlog size, AHT, staffing, and productivity, what is the recovery timeline? What staffing actions are needed? Do we need overtime, a skill move, temporary rerouting, priority rules, or a digital deflection plan? So the key takeaway is this. In intraday, expert judgment turns forecasting into decision-making. Experts act as real-time operators, balancing service level, backlog, and staffing actions so the business stays stable even when conditions are changing quickly. Next question is, what inputs do experts rely on when forming judgment-based forecasts? Think for a moment. Now let's answer. What inputs do experts rely on when forming judgment-based forecasts? Because expert judgment is not magic. It's built on signals and inputs. And the better the inputs, the better the forecast. Experts typically look at a mix of operational data, business context, and external drivers. Here are the most common inputs. First, recent call patterns. What happened in the last few hours, the last 2 days, or the last week? Experts watch volume, arrival patterns, AHT changes, and backlog movement. Second, historical analog events. Experts ask, have we seen a similar situation before? For example, previous outages, similar campaigns, or last year's festival period. Third, marketing and campaign calendars. Any promotion, messaging blast, or acquisition push can create a predictable surge in contacts, so experts factor that in. Fourth, product rollout schedules. New features, app releases, pricing plans, or policy updates often change customer intent overnight. Fifth, weather or festival insights. Weather disruptions, regional festivals, and public holidays can directly impact both demand and staffing. Sixth, system changes or downtime alerts. Planned maintenance or unexpected failures create repeat contacts, backlog, and spikes. Experts monitor these alerts closely. Seventh, news, policies, and economic changes. Regulatory announcements, market news, and economic pressure can change customer behavior quickly, especially for billing, collections, and service inquiries. 8th, customer sentiment and complaint trends. Experts watch VOC signals, complaints, escalations, social media noise, and CSAT dips, because sentiment often predicts demand. And 9th, capacity and staffing constraints. Even if demand is known, the forecast must be realistic for execution, considering absenteeism, skill coverage, shrinkage, and available staffing levers. So here's the final takeaway. Quality of input equals quality of forecast. Expert judgment works best when experts use the right signals, document assumptions, and link every adjustment to a clear driver. Next question is, why is documentation important in expert judgment forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's discuss, why is documentation important in expert judgment forecasting? Because expert judgment is not only about the forecast number, it's about the reason behind the number. Documentation is what turns expert judgment from gut feel into a Gantt forecasting method. Let's break down why it matters. First, documentation makes assumptions transparent. If we increase volume by 10%, we must write why, campaign, billing, outage recovery, policy change, or customer behavior shift. Second, it helps audit future variances. When actuals come in, we can compare what happened versus what we assumed and identify exactly which assumption was right or wrong. Third, it enables continuous improvement. When assumptions and outcomes are tracked, experts learn faster, calibration improves, and forecasts become more accurate over time. Fourth, it communicates rationale clearly. Operations teams, clients, and WFM leaders need to understand the story behind the forecast, so they can plan staffing, manage backlog, and take the right actions. Fifth, it prevents knowledge loss when experts leave. If the forecast logic lives only in someone's head, the organization loses capability when that person moves out or resigns. Documentation protects institutional knowledge. Sixth, it enhances credibility and governance. Documented forecasts are defensible. They show professionalism, consistency, and accountability, especially in client reviews. So here's the key takeaway. In expert judgment forecasting, documenting the why is just as important as forecasting the what. Because the why is what makes the forecast trusted, repeatable, and improvable. Next question is, how do biases affect expert judgment forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's talk about a hidden danger in expert judgment forecasting, bias. Bias matters because expert judgment relies on human thinking. And human thinking is powerful, but not always neutral. Let's cover the major biases that can distort judgment-based forecasts. First, anchoring bias. This happens when an expert sticks too closely to the previous week's numbers or an old baseline, even when the environment has changed. So the forecast becomes safe, but not accurate. Second, confirmation bias. This is when an expert favors information that supports what they already believe. For example, if someone expects volume to drop, they will highlight signals that show decline and ignore signals that suggest a rise. Third, optimism bias. This is when risks are underestimated. Experts may assume the best-case outcome, like faster recovery, lower backlog, or normal customer behavior, and the forecast becomes too light. Fourth, recency bias. This is when we overweight what just happened recently. If there was a spike yesterday, we assume today will spike too, even if yesterday was a one-time incident. Fifth, availability bias. This is when we rely on memorable events instead of objective evidence. For example, a painful outage from last month can cause experts to overestimate outage risk again, even when there is no real signal. So what's the solution? The solution is awareness plus structure. When experts actively look for bias and use structured review processes like peer checks, cross-functional reviews, and documented assumptions, they stay more neutral, more consistent, and more accurate. Final takeaway: bias doesn't mean experts are wrong. It means expert judgment must be controlled and guarded to stay reliable. Now let's make this real. What are examples of scenarios where expert judgment is superior to statistical forecasting? Here's the key idea. Expert judgment wins when the future is being shaped by something new, external, or fast-changing, something the model has not learned from history. Let's go through common scenarios. 1. A new campaign launch with no historical data. If a campaign is new, there's no reliable past pattern to train the model. Experts estimate demand using offer type, target audience size, channel mix, and past campaign experience. 2. Post-crisis recovery estimation. After a system outage or a PR issue, the biggest question is: how long will the backlog last, and how quickly will demand normalize? Experts can evaluate recovery based on operational reality, not just trend lines. 3. Predicting the impact of a sudden marketing push. If marketing unexpectedly increases spend, sends a blast, or changes messaging, volume may jump immediately. Models may detect it only after it has already happened. Experts can anticipate it in advance. 4. Interpreting the effect of a tariff or pricing change. Pricing changes can create bursts of calls, billing confusion, plan changes, complaints, retention requests. Experts can size impact based on customer behavior and past similar shifts. 5. Evaluating customer sentiment shifts. Sentiment changes often show up first in complaints, escalations, social media, and QA feedback. Experts can connect those signals to future demand before numbers fully reflect it. 6. Anticipating spikes during elections, weather alerts, or festival seasons. These events create regional and emotional demand shifts, plus staffing constraints. Experts combine local knowledge with operational planning. So the takeaway is simple. In these scenarios, expert insight creates forecast stability, because it adds context, anticipation, and practical planning that pure statistical forecasting may miss. Now let's answer: how do you measure the accuracy of expert judgment forecasts? Think for a moment. And the answer is here. Because once expert judgment becomes part of your forecasting process, it must be measured. Just like any statistical model, we measure accuracy using a set of standard forecasting metrics. First, MAPE, mean absolute percentage error. This tells us, on average, how far the forecast was from the actual in percentage terms. It's a quick way to understand error size, but it can be sensitive when volumes are very low. Second, WAPE, weighted absolute percentage error. This is often more practical in contact centers because it weights the error by volume. So high-volume days have the right influence on the final accuracy score. Third, bias percentage. Bias tells you whether the expert consistently forecasts too high or too low. Accuracy is not only about being close, it's also about being consistently balanced. Fourth, tracking signal. This helps detect systematic forecasting errors over time. If tracking signal is drifting, it's a warning that the judgment process needs recalibration. Fifth, directional accuracy. This measures whether the expert correctly predicted the direction of change, up, down, or flat. Even if the exact number is slightly off, getting direction right is critical for staffing actions. And here's the key point. When you track these accuracy metrics consistently, you build expert credibility. and you create a feedback loop for continuous refinement. So expert judgment becomes stronger over time because it learns from measured outcomes, not assumptions alone. Next question is, how does cross-functional collaboration strengthen expert judgment forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's understand, how does cross-functional collaboration strengthen expert judgment forecasting? Because the most accurate judgment forecasts are rarely created by one person alone. They are created when multiple teams bring their signals together. In a contact center, WFM experts collaborate with key functions such as operations, quality, HR, marketing, product teams, and client stakeholders. So why does this collaboration improve forecasting? Because each function sees a different part of the truth, and forecasting needs the full picture. Here's what cross-functional alignment adds to the forecast. First, new processes and operational changes. Operations can highlight process updates, routing changes, new SOPs, or policy enforcement changes that can change arrival patterns or AHT. Second, agent capability and performance reality. Quality and HR provide insight into training status, skill readiness, new batch ramped up, attrition risk, and whether capability is improving or declining. This directly impacts handle time, productivity, and service outcomes. Third, marketing campaign visibility. Marketing shares campaign calendars, messaging blasts, promotional windows, and spend changes, key drivers of spikes in demand. Fourth, customer trends and VOC signals. Quality, operations, and clients can share complaints trends, escalations, sentiment changes, and top contact drivers, often early indicators of future volume. Fifth, policy or product shifts. Product teams and client stakeholders bring insights on app releases, feature rollouts, pricing changes, plan migrations, billing adjustments, or regulatory impacts. So the key takeaway is this. Cross-functional collaboration makes expert judgment forecasting holistic, not narrow. And when everyone aligns on drivers and assumptions, the forecast becomes more reliable, more defensible, and easier to execute operationally. Next question is, how does expert judgment help when historical data is inconsistent or unreliable? Think for a moment. Now let's answer. How does expert judgment help when historical data is inconsistent or unreliable? This is a very common contact center reality. Sometimes historical data is not clean. It can be noisy, inconsistent, or completely disrupted because of things like system outages, agent strikes, staffing gaps, or even reporting and export errors. And when the data is unstable, quantitative forecasting methods lose accuracy. Because models can only learn from what you feed them. That's where expert judgment becomes the stabilizer. Here's exactly what experts do in these situations. First, they identify which data points should be ignored. For example, if 2 days are missing, or if 1 day shows an abnormal spike due to an outage, experts flag those points as non-representative. Second, they adjust for anomalies. They separate real demand from event-driven noise so the forecast isn't pulled in the wrong direction. Third, they provide clean interpretations of trends. Even when raw data looks messy, experts can interpret the underlying pattern. Like whether demand is genuinely rising or if it's just a temporary disruption. Fourth, they cross-check values with operational reality. Experts validate the numbers using ground signals, backlog size, queue behavior, staffing levels, customer complaints, and known incidents. Fifth, they add contextual corrections from past experience. They use historical analogs and lessons learned. For example, after outages like this, we usually see repeat calls for 2 days, or strike impact typically normalized by midweek. So here's the final takeaway. When data is unreliable, models become unstable. But experts can stabilize forecasting by applying context, filtering noise, and correcting assumptions. In short, experts make the model stable, even when the data isn't. Next question is, what is the difference between expert judgment and intuition-based forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's clear up a very common confusion. What is the difference between expert judgment and intuition-based forecasting? They may sound similar, but in forecasting governance, they are very different. Expert judgment is best described as structured intuition. It combines intuition with domain knowledge, data interpretation, and real experience. In other words, an expert may have a strong instinct, but that instinct is backed by evidence and logic. On the other hand, intuition-only forecasting is simply an unstructured guess. It's a prediction made without clear support, without documented assumptions, and without a method to validate it later. So what makes expert judgment different? Expert judgment requires 5 things. First, a clear rationale. The expert must explain why they believe demand will move up or down. Second, historical grounding. Even if the situation is new, the forecast should connect to patterns, analog events, or baseline behavior. Third, assumption documentation. Every adjustment should be written down: campaign impact, billing cycle shift, outage recovery, staffing risk, so it can be reviewed later. Fourth, review and validation. Expert judgment must be measured against actuals, variance must be analyzed, and learning must be captured. Fifth, cross-checking with business insights. Inputs from operations, marketing, product, QA, and the client should confirm or challenge the judgment, ensuring it's not one-person opinion. So the final takeaway is this. Expert judgment is logical, defendable, and monitored. Intuition-only forecasting is gut feel and guesswork. In contact centers, we want forecasts that we can explain, validate, and improve. And that's exactly why expert judgment is the professional standard. Next question is, how do contact center events impact expert judgment forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's understand, how do contact center events impact expert judgment forecasting? In a contact center, events can change customer behavior almost instantly, sometimes within minutes. Common events include new billing cycles, product issues or defects, system outages, social media escalations, weather disruptions or festival effects, and marketing or promotional campaigns. Now, why do these events matter so much? Because they often trigger sudden shifts in customer intent. A customer may call for clarification, complaint, refund, cancellation, or urgent support based on what just happened. And in these cases, historical averages are not enough. This is where expert judgment becomes extremely valuable. Experts understand the cause and effect relationship behind each event. They don't just look at a spike, they interpret what the spike means. That allows them to predict 4 critical things. First, spike duration. Will the spike last 1 hour, 1 day, or an entire week? Second, the recovery curve. How quickly will volumes return to normal once the event is resolved? And will we see repeat calls and backlog-driven demand afterwards? Third, customer sentiment shifts. Events often increase complaints and escalations. Experts can anticipate how sentiment will impact contact rates and repeat contacts. Fourth, a new demand level. Some events permanently change demand, like a pricing change, a policy shift, or a product rollout. Experts can judge whether the new volume will settle at a higher baseline. So here's the final takeaway. Contact center events create sudden, nonlinear demand changes. Expert judgment is strong because it translates events into forecast logic. Spike duration, recovery curve, sentiment impact, and new demand levels. That's why event interpretation is a core strength of expert judgment forecasting. Next question is, what is the role of assumption tracking in expert judgment forecasting? Think for a moment. Now let's discuss a core governance practice, assumption tracking in expert judgment forecasting. In judgment-based forecasting, assumptions are not optional. They are the backbone of the prediction. Because experts don't just give a number. They explain why that number should move. For example, typical assumptions sound like this. Billing is expected to increase queries by 18%. System downtime will create a backlog for 6 hours. Chat migration may reduce voice calls by 7%. Now, why do we track these assumptions? Because tracking assumptions gives us 5 major benefits. First, transparency. Everyone can see what the forecast is based on, no hidden logic, no vague reasoning. Second, repeatability. If the same situation happens again, we don't start from scratch. We reuse and refine the assumptions based on what worked before. Third, accountability. When assumptions are documented, ownership becomes clear. Who assumed what, and what evidence supported it? Fourth, faster and cleaner variance analysis. When actuals come in, we can immediately ask, was the assumption correct? Was it overestimated? Was it underestimated? This makes root cause analysis much easier. Fifth, evaluation of expert accuracy over time. Over multiple cycles, we can see which experts consistently size impacts correctly and which assumptions tend to be biased or unrealistic. So here's the key takeaway. In expert judgment forecasting, assumptions are the foundation. And assumption tracking is what makes the foundation strong. Because in the end, good assumptions create good judgment, and good judgment creates reliable forecasts. Next question is, how do experts incorporate seasonality without detailed statistical models? Think for a moment. Now let's answer, how do experts incorporate seasonality without detailed statistical models? Seasonality is real in contact centers, weekly patterns, monthly cycles, and big yearly peaks. And even when we don't run complex models, experts can still account for seasonality using structured, practical signals. Here's what experts typically use. First, historical patterns. They look at what normally happens during the same time window, like month-end, quarter-end, or holiday weeks. Second, year-over-year comparisons. Experts compare the same period last year to understand whether volume usually goes up, down, or stays stable, then adjust for what's different this year. Third, market cycles. Some businesses have natural cycles, billing, renewals, claims, school admissions, travel peaks. Experts factor these in because they understand the business rhythm. Fourth, client-specified calendars. Clients often provide key dates, campaign launches, price changes, renewal windows, or collections drives. Experts use these calendars as seasonal anchors. Fifth, festival schedules. Festivals and public holidays can shift both customer behavior and staffing availability, so experts plan for spikes, dips, and backlog effects around those dates. Sixth, weather and socio-economic insights. Weather disruptions and economic stress can change demand, especially in service, claims, utilities, or collections. Experts monitor those external drivers. Seventh, analog events, similar previous periods. Even if the exact event hasn't happened, experts find the closest match from the past and use it to estimate the likely impact and duration. So the key takeaway is this. Even without formulas, experts can incorporate seasonality by using history, calendars, market rhythms, and external signals to accurately sense whether demand will rise, fall, or stay stable during seasonal shifts. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel, Contact Center Knowledge Hub. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. See you in the next video.